Hello, hello. This is CD and
Shreen
what's her last name?
Simmons.
Right, right. And we're in our second segment of one plus one equals
One.
right. And so basically, you know, we kind of left off asking questions to each other about like why did we choose the dating app that we chose and that sort of thing. But we're gonna try to go a little bit deeper as far as how we got to the point of marriage and how we got to the point of me even coming over here and that sort of thing. And so all right, first question. Um, when did we actually move? When did we move into the relationship?
We didn't take long when you think about it.
We didn't.
No.
Okay. So, so this is what I recall. I recall, like, so Shireen had asked me if I'm still on a dating site. And I said, yeah, I am, and she was like, well, why? I was like, well, because I'm still meeting people or whatever. She was like, well, if you want to give this a try, then, you know, um, then or how did you say? I can't remember how you put it. Like basically telling me like basically giving this a try,
Or a chance.
a chance. Then maybe I need to eliminate other types of distractions or
I
what
didn't
have
want
you.
to lose you.
It's and so I thought about it. I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. And so I that's when I just got rid of my profile on the dating website, and then I just kind of focused totally on what could happen with us, and so and then what was the next thing that happened was
Yes, we took the relationship more prayerfully. We went into other series of prayers and fasting. And then basically after that, we listened to the voice of God and we took our time slowly. It wasn't a rush thing, guys. And we just entered. But there were times when it wasn't that smooth as how I put it, entered.
Yeah, yeah, we had because there was definitely some cultural differences even through just
Yes.
video chatting and
Not
that
only
sort of thing.
cultural, it was like even more food differences too.
Food differences. Oh, tell them about the food differences. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
because at the time, guys, he's vegan. I wasn't vegan. And to be honest, I was thinking about going vegan, but I couldn't let go of fish. It was too hard. That's what I thought. It was hard until I actually started getting sick. And it doesn't matter how it's been prepared, it wouldn't sit well in my tummy or my stomach. And then I started reading this book called Ministry of Healing. And then after reading that book, I realized how bad it was for me. Now, guys, I'm not telling you that it's bad for you. You just leave it alone. That's not what. I had a conviction for leaving fish. And then most of the persons in my family, it has caused them to be highly sick when it comes down to my sister. So I had to leave that alone. And then I didn't want to tell him that I totally go into the vegan world because I wanted to give myself enough time. I didn't want to just run to it or for him to think that he's forcing me. So when we just started out, he said to me that, what if we give this relationship a try? Um, and we're living together. Could you please eat fish outside the house? And I was like, yeah, as long as I'm eating my fish. And he said that, oh, I'm not telling you to stop eating the fish. He gave me that choice. He didn't just cut it off from me because some person will tell you it's either or either. No, he didn't do that. He said he asked me if I could just eat fish outside the home. But praying and praying and praying and talking to God about it, God gave me the conviction. And one day I went to church and I just sealed it. I was like, Lord, this is it. I'm not going back. So when I called him and I was like, we called her, did you know that we called each other honey and babes half before we were like serious. So I said, honey, I stopped eating fish. She'd be like, what? because he has his little dog. What? I said that I've decided to stop. I'm not going back. And he said, I'm proud of you. I felt good.
I really was proud of her because honestly, with my transition, fish was the hardest thing for me to give up. I love fish, and and so I understood, and when we think about it, like, when we talked about our different diets, when we first started talking, actually on my profile, it actually said that I would prefer to date someone or to talk with someone who was plant-based like I was,
Yes.
and so that was another thing on her profile that, that I kind of like, I wasn't really feeling. Also, as far as like within our Christianity, she seemed to be more liberal and I seemed to be more conservative. In fact, I think that was one of the things that intimidated her also.
Yeah, he's
about
very intimidating.
about my profile also, and so like and that doesn't have anything to do with political preferences, because neither one of us are political in any sense. It's actually dangerous to be political in Jamaica, which I found out. They like gangs, man. Oh my gosh, like they wear colors and all kinds of stuff. If you caught wearing, is it yellow and red? Is that how it goes?
Green and orange.
Green and orange. If you caught wearing, at the time of elections, if you caught wearing one of those colors in the wrong area, you're going to get sniped. You're going to get put out of your misery. And I'm like, what? Are y'all serious? Like, for political? I'm like, but then again, I mean, honestly, it's not too different from that in America with the Democrats and Republicans. And so I think, I don't see any difference in them. There's some policies, but other than that, they're the same to me as far as I'm concerned. And so, and I don't mean, I honestly, I'm not trying to bash anybody who loves the politics and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying it's not for me, and I was so happy to find out it's not for her. So when we talk about being more conservative and more liberal, we're talking about within Christianity. You know what I mean? As far as like traditional and non-traditional Christian, and so yeah, and back to the diet thing. So the whole diet thing, when she told me, when I was able to ask her, and I said, okay, so if this goes anywhere, would you mind if you only ate fish when we were outside of the house, like when we go out to eat or something like that, and there's a reason behind that, and I know somebody's going to ask me, but I'm gonna let y'all ask me. I'm not even going to go into detail until somebody asks me, and so this is how I know y'all paying attention. But anyway, but people who know me, they know why. They know why. And I have a lot of close friends. I have a lot of close friends from all walks of life. Trust me, I got friends from everywhere,
He does.
and so and she's met a lot of them, and so like there are people who understand me, and there are people just like, man, look, that's just Dean, and so and so but I'm gonna let y'all ask me though, and it better not be nobody that I know who knows the answer. So it's gotta be somebody that I know don't know the answer, but yeah, and so. When I seen that she was willing to do that for me, it made me look more into like, okay, yeah, she seems to like really want to like, compromise with me, and I knew that it was a two-way street also, there were some things that I would have to compromise with her as well. And so, like I say, those are things that we learned through trial and error, kind of like she said, there was cultural differences. Like I think I mentioned before that, like she takes a lot of stuff totally literal, and I'd be playing and I'd be like, are you serious? Like, you for real? You didn't catch that, really? And everybody they know I'm very facetious. I come from a facetious family, and
so guys, he was the one that taught me that word.
We're sarcastic as all get out, and I'm not saying it's always a good thing, because sometimes we play too much and it's not a good time to play.
Loves to play.
And so that silliness has a place, and I'm talking to my brother because he gets on my nerves. But anyway, he knows who he is, and y'all know who I'm talking about too. But yeah, anyway, culturally, like she would even say things differently then, and I'd just be like, I got OCD, man. If it's not coming, I'm just playing. But I don't really have OCD, but I use it as an excuse, for a lot of stuff. So I think everybody actually has OCD in a sense.
Yeah.
But I mess with her, a lot, and
You
sometimes
still do.
she thinks that I'm real serious,
No,
and
you
I'm
still
just
do. I
like,
still think.
no, baby, I'm just playing. It's all jokes, and she's catching on more and more, and she's even trying to be, have her own little facetiousness about
Yeah,
her
but
too.
it's not getting
Yeah,
to it.
yeah. It's not good at all. She needs a lot more practice, but she tries, and it's cute, and I love her voice. I love the way she talks and her accent and that sort of thing, and it's just the sweetest thing to me. Yeah, culturally, we have some differences. I'm trying to think of something in particular that I can give as an example, but nothing is coming to mind right now. Maybe it's for another time. But we found a way to just kind of look through that and see what was what, and yeah. You have any other questions?
No,
You have no questions? Oh gosh,
you have.
I do.
You're always up.
Yeah, I usually do. Okay, so how did we decide that this is where we're going to go? Okay, so this was actually a plan B for me to come here. We actually had a whole other plan in tow, and that plan had to do with like uh, like I'm trying to think of something. Oh yeah, she was supposed to come there on a work visa. Yeah. So explain that.
So, guys, I got a job offer in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was supposed to go there on a work visa. Everything was, well, partially planned. He has this wonderful friend, I will not call her name, that she was so excited to do the decor. She was excited to do the entire wedding. So, nothing would have happened here in Jamaica. I would have actually got to meet his family, his children, everyone in person. But you know what? This is how I view things. If God has a way, or when God has a way, we have a different way also. We have a different plan. And even though we put things to God, that's not his way if it's not his way. So that wasn't God's way for me to go through that medium to go on the work visa. So because it wasn't God's way, we kept on putting it to God. It's not a case where we have left it out because, oh yes, we're going to get married now and so forth. So we stopped putting things to God. No. Each step of the way, we continued to put things to God through our entire devotions in the mornings and also a few devotions at night. But also, every single Vesper night, we would put this to God. We will call friends, we will call family members, we will ask them to pray for us. So with that continual prayer, God showed us that this is not the way for you to go on a work visa. He's going to come there. And even though God was saying that, because it was like so plain. I don't know if he saw it, but it was like so plain to me. No matter how I prayed about the work program, nothing was coming up. It was like God was silent. And I used to cry to him and say, honey, God is silent. He's not saying anything. And then he would say, honey, God's time is not your time. But it was aching inside because I was seeing that it's the only way I could see him if I go on this work program. But it wasn't so. So the fact that it didn't work out, I was fearful. Even though I was praying, I was still fearful because I would cry at night and I would be like, honey, I'm going to lose you. I'm not going to get to see you. And he'd be like, oh, don't come with this now. But he didn't understand that for someone that has been through a devastation, chaoses in their lives, and to finally meet someone that has been so sweet and make you feel as if you're floating on cloud nine, guys, to be just disappeared, it pains. So I didn't want to lose him, and I didn't want to lose his friendship. I didn't want to lose his comforting words. I didn't want to lose nothing about him, because he has this thing about him, guys. He's very emotional when I cry. Like, he'd be the sweetest guy ever when I cry. And I don't use it as an excuse.
As a weapon?
No, I'm a crybaby. Yeah, I cry for everything. But he has been there for me and my family through thick and thin, half before we were married. And as he said to you before, we knew it felt as if we grew together. I wonder if we grew together. We went to school together.
We went to school together?
It felt as if we went to school together.
So, are you finished?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So there was a lot that was that happened, with the program and that sort of thing, and she was really worried about, because honestly, and if I was placing basically everything on that program. Like, if she weren't able to come over, I was gonna look at it as maybe it's not meant to be. And so, and I think she was seeing through that, and so she would ask me questions like, what if I can't come over there? Then what?
That's a question I ponder with every night.
Yeah, and I knew how, so I wasn't straight up with her. I would just say things like, we'll deal with that when we get there. But I know in my head I was basically saying, like, it's not meant to be, and so I kind of left it at that. But then as time progressed, and I was prayerful about it a lot, you know what I mean? And so I always went to God for counsel, not even my friends that like her, because I didn't want to base anything off of just emotion. I wanted to base it off of what God could reveal to me about this relationship. And he revealed to me already so much, because I'm ministry minded, and most people who know me, they know that I'm very ministry minded. And right now I have my own ministry that I've been continuously working on and being involved in and that sort of thing. And in every aspect of me putting the ministry together and that sort of thing, I seen how she fits so perfectly to add to it, and the Lord, I really believe that the Lord was showing me that. And so I call her my diamond in the rough, and there was a reason behind that. And those who witnessed the wedding, which we have the Zoom portion on my YouTube channel that you can look into. But you gotta kind of fast forward on, because it just, I don't know, it was just weird. But I also have another portion that we're getting some video ready for, that I'm going to be able to put up there. Another way where you can look at it outside of the Zoom portion. And and even in my personal vows, I called her my diamond in the rough, and there was a reason behind that. She had a really, really rough upbringing, and that's up to her to talk more at length about it if she wants to, and probably in another situation, another segment, or another, altogether, show or whatever you want, or video, whatever the case. But, she had a really, really rough upbringing, and, and I seen all the emotional scars in our conversations and that sort of thing, all the mental anguish that she'd been through and that sort of thing. And just being able to see the type of woman that God brought her up to be amidst that, like, now I grew up in the hood, and I seen, like, we were bad off, but we wasn't bad off. You know what I mean? Like, I seen slums and that sort of thing, and people living in the worst impoverished situations. By God's grace, we had a mom that worked her butt off, and and I believe that my dad helped in some aspect with money and that sort of thing. And so, like, we were poor, but we wasn't nowhere near the worst of the worst, and I've seen that, and just hearing her story, and what she been through and what she had to go through and that sort of thing, you know, and just like the types of things that she had to deal with, even from family members, you know, and church members, people that she's supposed to be able to trust, you know what I mean, and all the stuff that she been through and all that kind of stuff, to see the type of woman that she is now, man. I seen a lot of strength, and I seen you know, the aspect of diamond is, you know, in order for it to be this beautiful jewel, it has to go through a tremendous amount of pressure, you know, and then, you know, and then outside of that, you know, after all the pressure and the grinding and the, you know, the friction and all that kind of stuff, out comes this beautiful jewel, you know, but there's something even more to the rough around the diamond and all that kind of stuff that make it even shine even brighter. And every time I would hear some of her stories from her past and that sort of thing, all I thought of was like, wow, what a diamond, what a diamond, what a diamond in the rough, what a diamond that came out of just, you know, and God was revealing those things to me. And he's like, if you lose out on her, like, dude, like, you're going to be messing up. You'll be messing up real bad, you know. And God was showing me that. See, I don't believe in soulmates, you know, and, you know, we can argue about it whenever, you know, especially if you're a Christian, you know what I mean? And it don't have to be an argument. It could be a dialogue, you know, of people disagreeing and talking, because some people won't even do that because, you know, they believe that, you know, you shouldn't, you know, but anyway, that's for another topic too. But, you know, I don't believe in soulmates. I don't believe that God has one person for one person or anything like that, because, you know, I think that's why he gave us the ability to discern. You know, he gave us the ability to discern according to his word and according to his will, you know, and to come to him for that understanding. And that's where the prayer came in at, to come to him for understanding and to reveal to us exactly what it is this relationship will bring to glorify him. To glorify him. And so, you know, and me being a Christian, I believe that every aspect of your life, and especially your marriage, should glorify God.
Oh, yes.
You know, and so with that being said, you know, I well, for one, soulmate isn't even a Christian concept. This actually comes from Greek mythology. But you know, in the marital sense, you know, especially when it comes to courtship or when it comes to like getting with someone, yeah, I believe that God should be involved in it, but God doesn't make your choice for you. God gives us discernment. God gives us the ability to understand and see things, see red flags or white flags or whatever you want, what, you know what I mean? So that you can understand and know what you were able to compromise with, or what you should be able to compromise with, and what you need to get away from. You know what I mean? And so that's where prayer comes in at, but ultimately it's your decision. And so with that being said, you know, God was telling me, don't let this one go. Don't let her go. You know, she's going to complement my walk with the Lord. She's going to complement my ministry, and she's going to enhance, which she already have. You know, like I said, you know, she always encouraged me to pray. You know, always encouraged me to pray. You know, everything I was going through, whether I was jobless, whether I was going through some stuff with somebody harmed one of my family members, whether, you know, it was always about prayer. It was always about bringing it back to the God. And as a Christian, that means a lot to me. Because when you can base everything off of your emotions and the things that you're going through and all that kind of stuff, it's real easy to go about things your own way apart from God. And it was important for me to have somebody by me that could check those emotions that I'm so easily can go to. You know what I mean? And just be like, look, let's pray about it. Whether I wanted to pray about it or not, she told me the truth, and that's what I loved about it. You know, when you know, she don't agree with me all the time, and I appreciate that. You know, even though I don't like when she don't agree with me, you know what I mean. But you know, she tells me what's real, man, and that's what I needed. That's exactly what I needed. It's too many times where you got people in your life that just tells you exactly what you want to hear or tell you to do you. Well, doing me ain't always the right answer. For one, as a Christian, I do God, and I need somebody that's going to point me back to God's ways, not my own. And she's been really good about that. And so, and she showed me that, and God was showing me that. And so I was able to, you know, so that's what made me change my mind about, well, it's not God's will. No, God allows some types of struggle to come so that we become fonder of him, or so that we can have more faith in him and even become more fonder of each other, of the struggle that we had to go through with each other. And so with that sense, the visa thingy, the work thing didn't turn out. It turned out that because of COVID, Jamaica was really like backed up with immigration, not immigration, but embassy stuff and all that kind of stuff, and it just didn't work out. And so we had to put a plan B in place. And then as we was putting plan B in place, we talked more about marriage, because it was supposed to be just I'm coming over to visit. And then it was like, man, I really believe that I seen everything I needed to see. She really believed that she saw everything she needed to see. All right, well, let's turn this into a wedding then. 3 months? 3 months before we basically set the date for us to come over here, we started putting wedding plans in order. And the awesome thing about it, and I don't mean to say this as a cuss word, especially against Jamaicans, because I've come to love Jamaicans a whole lot. But I've had friends that said that, and for my Jamaican friends and family that I have out here, I just want to say, these were never my thoughts, but I've heard people say that Jamaicans are the most selfish people in the world. That Jamaicans, only care about themselves, and they never bring anything anywhere, and this and that, but what I've seen when as soon as Shireen brought up that I'm coming here to get married, what I was able to witness, and when I got here too, is a lot of her church family and her family, people that she barely even talked to, wanted to be a help, a service. When we was going to have, there was a reason why we didn't have a reception, and that's because of the laws that they have, and it's so stringent, because we was going to have a reception with all kinds of food and stuff like that, and like her family members who had chicken farms was going to donate chickens, and like one of her friends who cooks vegan meats and stuff like that, he was going to bring that. Like, dude, like so many people was coming together. Like one of our dear sisters in Christ who just go to my Bible studies on Zoom, she did the decorations, those beautiful decorations that you seen at the church. That was by our little sister, Britannia, our sister in Christ. You know what I mean? She did that. She's only like 24 years old, and she has all that talent. And so, like, I mean, her cousin, the lovely Beneve, the one who read the things, the what you call it, her maid of honor at our wedding, like a lot of her family and church family, man, came together. And when I got here, every time we visit somebody, they're giving us some kind of gift or whatever the case. Like, these are the most giving and loving people that I've ever met. So to anyone who said that whatever about, and I knew Jamaicans before I came here, and I know that I never met one that was like, and I dated a Jamaican also, you know what I mean? And so, like, I never got that, what my friend or my friends had said about them, and maybe that's a personal prejudice that he or she has, or whatever the case, or they, but I don't agree. Just so you guys know, I don't agree at all. You guys have shown me, you shown my family that came here with me so much love, and they appreciate it. They coming back out here. They talking about coming out here like 3-4 times a year, whether I'm there or not. You know what I mean? And so, like, they see, for one, they see that we have a family here now, and that actually does look after you and looked after us, you know what I mean? And not just that, but they just see the culture, the beauty of it, all of that. Even amongst all the crazy COVID lockdowns and all that kind of stuff, man, they were showing us mad love out here. They've been showing us mad love out here. And so, yeah, I don't agree. But yeah, people started to come together, man, and, to get things going. And we saw God's hand even more in it because of it, man. And, they like, everyone did everything they could to make this as easy as a transition for us as possible. And it was, and then on top of that, God called me to ministry right in the midst of all this. To the point where I had to leave my roofing job, and for some reason this thing is fading out or whatever the case. For light, so we had to do that. And so And I would have to go into ministry. You know, God called me into ministry, man. And so a lot of even my money and everything was dependent upon God completely. And I mean, there's no better place to be honest with you. But like, it's scary, especially when your physical attributes are the things that you're used to depending on. You know, every job that I had was highly physical because I'm a physical person. And so with that being said, you know, I had to learn to trust God. You know, what you laughing at? I just saw you laughing. What you laughing at?
I'm just smiling about what you just
Yeah,
said.
you were laughing, whatever. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, and yet God was making ways. He was making moves on our behalf and that sort of
Yes.
thing. And so, you know, I definitely saw, you know, and you know, but to some it might have seemed that it was a rush situation to some, you know, because they didn't see the background of it all. You know what I mean? They didn't see us talking and praying and getting to know each other the way we have. And so some of my family wasn't on board, and I understand why. And I appreciate their honesty, and I appreciate their warnings and all that kind of stuff. And so it was, you know, it was bittersweet in some ways, but you know, when it came down to it, they still supported me. You know, my family or whatever the case. What about your family? Did they have any like reservations about anything about us or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay, all right. So yeah, but you know, as my family got to know her, you know, and meet up with her and talk with her and see, I don't know, maybe even our chemistry together. You know, they've come to accept her, and I appreciate that. You
Thank
know,
you guys.
yeah. All right. So I think this is the end of this segment. Again, you know, we're going to try to do a few more of these videos before I end up leaving. I'm leaving in just, you know, 2 short days.
Aww.
And it's a sad time, but you know, I got to get back over to the States so I can start, you know, doing what I need to do to get her over there and that sort of thing. But like I said, you know, if you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to ask them. The rest of our segments after I leave will probably be on Zoom, her and I, and we might even do it live so that people could come on and talk and that sort of thing. And we can even bring some of the people that, you know, have been integral parts of, you know, our coming together and our marriage and that sort of thing. So that you can even ask them questions or, you know.
Because we have a third wheel.
We have a couple of third wheels, but one in particular, one especially, and he knows who we're talking about. You know, very lovable guy, and his family, like they've also been very integral in everything, and they've been a blessing to us. The Razor family, and you know, and other people, you know, like my church family. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah,
there's too much of you guys.
my church family, a lot of them, you know, were behind me and stuff like that, and so like they, you know, like being able to see how genuinely happy everybody was for us on Facebook and that sort of thing, those things, all of those things mean a lot to us. You know what I mean? Because I mean, there's a lot of my friends who've seen what I've been through in the past or whatever the case, and you know, and I like that they were happy for us, and I like that, you know, that they, you know, they see the beauty in her. Even if it's just in photos and all that kind of stuff, you know, but there's so much to her inside as well as outside. And, you know, and the Lord gave me the opportunity to see that, because there was a few times I was going to miss out on that, but I didn't, by God's grace. And I thank God for it.
Lord.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, share, subscribe, and bring your questions. And so we're going to,
waiting.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. All right. God bless. Have a good night. Oh yeah, again, we're called 1 + 1 =
1.
Blessings.